Good evening, ladies as well as gentlemen. Papa Boris here on a beautiful Sunday afternoon, and I wanted to make a video to thank all the folks who subscribed to my channel because recently we actually passed, as you can see here, 100 subscribers. A few of these subscribers were from the olden days, back when I posted other stuff that nobody watched, but for the most part I believe we've got 100 legit Hearthstone subscribers, and of course I don't want to slight the folks who were here earlier for the other stuff I was doing that no one else cared about. But anyway, I feel kind of silly caring about the fact that I got up to 100 subscribers, because most channels are like, thank you guys, we've reached 1 million subscribers. Thank you all so much for your support. We've reached a cajillion subscribers. So making a big deal out of 100 subscribers, it may seem small, but you know what, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how big you are, it doesn't matter how small you are. What matters is that you're making stuff that people enjoy and having fun and people support you, and that's just all really, really great. So again, thank you so much for watching my channel. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And as a kind of special thank you, I wanted to show you my stats, because a few people have actually been asking about those, and so I figured, hey, why not share those and just show you what I do. So when Hearthstone came out, a lot of people who weren't in the beta decided to make some stat-keeping tools. That's a pretty cool way to, pass the time when you're not in the beta yet, but you want to have something Hearthstone-related to do. Now, the tools that I saw on the internet, on the Blizzard forums, on Reddit, and elsewhere, they were really, really great, but they weren't quite what I was looking for personally, so I made my own tools for keeping track of my Hearthstone stats. And so you can see them here. It's really, really easy to do. After every game, I have to do just two things. Number one, I go into the appropriate column. So, like for example, I just finished a Druid Arena run. Spoiler alert! Okay, the spoiler people all left. Great. I got 6 wins, so I just go under the Druid column, type 6. Then I go to the Gold Rewards tab of the spreadsheet. Here again, I go to the appropriate number of wins, 6, and then I just put in how much gold I made. So as I said during the run, I actually saw a new low here, 70 gold. So I put that in, and that's just 2 pieces of information, and then the spreadsheet magic takes care of everything else. Now the other tools that I saw, they were crazy. You could put what class you played, what class your opponent played, who went first, how you did, all that stuff. I think that would be neat to have. I'd love to have a sheet that just shows me how I do against warlocks or whatever, but there comes a point where you have to kind of balance the annoyance of tracking the stats from the value that you get from the stats. For me personally, the value that I get from knowing all those stats is not quite worth the annoyance of putting in my statistics on a game-by-game-by-game level. So I just do 2 things at the end of every arena, and that gives me as much information as I really value. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. First, starting here with the gold rewards. It shows me here how often I reach each particular stage of the arena. And it also computes the average win at each level. So you can see, in my experience, granted, for some of these, like for 8 or for 5, the statistical, or the sample size is not statistically significant, but still, it's kind of nice to see, and it'll become more and more significant over time, what the average gold wins are. So you can see, for me personally, 5 wins is about 50 gold less than 6 wins, and that's actually now a little bit over 60 gold less than 7 wins. At 8 wins, we see another jump by actually 90 gold on average, and then at 9 wins, you see a little bit of a drop by just about, somewhere between 40 and 50 gold. You're losing if you get to 9 wins compared to 8. Now, I have to say this, I think that almost everyone should try to go for 9 wins. I see a lot of talk on Reddit about people retiring at 8 wins because they make more gold at 8 than at 9. Here's the thing, right? What are you spending your gold on? If you're spending it on packs, you should go to 9 wins, because at 9 wins you might get a pack. The gold value of that is worth way more than the 40 to 50 gold you're losing by not by staying at 8 wins and not going up to 9. If you're trying to build up a collection, you should definitely go to 9 wins, because you can get rares from that. You can get an extra pack from that, which also gives you more cards. And if you're one of those people who's like, well, I only care about Arena, here's the funny thing. I'm a player like that. At the moment, I only care about Arena. But I have so much gold, I'm not going to run out of gold anytime soon. Like, this 40 gold isn't going to, keep you going in the arena indefinitely. Either you're good enough that you can keep playing Arena forever, or you're not. And if you're not, that extra gold isn't really going to make much of a difference in the long run. It's just like an extra daily quest. So basically, I think the only people who should retire at 8 are the players who actually really do need that gold to play in their next arena run, and then when they're likely to drop back down to 0 and run out. the really good players who can go infinite or almost infinite, you should just keep on playing to 9 wins because you get value added to your collection. And if you're at the point where you're going infinite, it doesn't actually matter about that gold. Like, yeah, if I had all these runs where I got to 9 wins, like, what is it, like 14 runs or so? Like, if I had retired at 8, I would have, an extra, what is that, 560 gold or so? But what am I doing with that gold? Nothing! I'm just playing in the arena, so it doesn't make any difference. If I end up spending the gold on packs, then I should have gone to 9 wins anyway. Anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent, but this is why I personally, even if I weren't recording videos, believe that it is really, really smart to go up to 9 wins and not just retire at 8, notwithstanding the gold difference. Anyway, the other thing that you can see is the stats page over here. So this is where you can see how I do with each class. So for each class, we track how often I hit each point at the arena. Let's take a look at Priest, for example. I played with them a bunch. So you can see Priests, I made it to 6 wins 3 times, 7 wins once, and then 3 times for 8, twice at 9. Then you see what the average number of wins is for each class that you have, and the total number of times you've played that class. So the total number is very important here because if you only played with a class like once, then the average number of wins isn't, a particularly meaningful piece of information. I also keep track of how many of those runs were non-profit, meaning they didn't make it to 7, and how many of them were profit, and calculate my success rate for each class. Then, of course, I also complete the total number across all the classes, the average number of wins I have overall, and then my overall success rate, which is just below 60% at the moment. It was actually at 60%, then I had that 6-win run as Druid with the comical ending, and it dropped right down below 60. What's interesting is here you can see the percents. So one interesting thing about my arena experience is not a majority, but a plurality of my arena runs go actually all the way up to 9 wins. So a little over my third of my runs get to 9 wins. And I want to talk about this a little bit because what I've seen in all the other statistic trackers is that the other trackers track your win percentage or your win rate. And I've seen this too in forums when someone is, promoting themselves and they want to express how good they are, they always give their win rate like, bobbity boobity boop, 74% win rate. And it's like, who cares? The win rate is not actually the important piece of information because basically the only thing that win rate matters for is at 9 wins, you could have 0 wins, 1 win, or excuse me, 0 losses, 1 loss, or 2 losses. And it makes no difference. Your rewards are the same either way. It really doesn't make any difference at all what your win percentage is. What you really want to know is your average number of wins in the arena. That is the meaningful piece of information. So I prefer to just count my average number of wins and not differentiate among the different outcomes for 9 wins, whether it's 0 losses, 1 loss, or 2, because it's just not important to me. And I don't think it's really worth tracking that information, other than for bragging rights. If you want to, you can always compute your win rate kind of backwards. So here, I average almost 7 wins per arena. So basically, if we assume that I always perform at the average, this is obviously a ballpark estimate, it's not super accurate, but if you assume that I always go to 7 wins, I win 7 games, I lose 3, so my win rate is 70%, or a little bit less, accounting for this decimal that I am below 7. So that's it. That's pretty much all you really need to do as far as tracking your win rate. I also track the or better column. So this tells me not just how many times I got that particular percentage or that particular number of wins, but how many times I did that well or better. So for example, if you look at the percent column, 84% of the time I hit 5 wins or better. 75% of the time, or 3/4 of my games, I go to 6 wins or do better. And then here's the 7 wins or better. You can see that's the same as my success rate. 59% is how often I get to 7 wins or more. Well, anyway, that's it for my statistics. If you would like to use this stat sheet for your own record keeping, feel free. It's free. It's shareable. I'm going to post the link to it in the description. So all you have to do is click on it, and you can save it if you want to see my stats change over time. You can do that if you enjoy that, and you can also make a copy of it in Google Docs and then fill it in with your own stats to see how you do when you play Hearthstone. Alright, well anyway, thanks again so much for watching my channel and watching my videos. I really appreciate everyone who's commented, whether it's been to say you like the channel or whether it's been to point out mistakes in my play. I think we should all, accept our mistakes and try to get better. And thanks for helping me break the 100 subscriber mark. It is maybe a small milestone, but who knows how far this channel will go. I think if it does get big someday, it'll be nice to have this video to remember back and reflect upon those times when I was a little man in the big sea of the internet. Thank you once again for watching. I really appreciate all of your support, and we'll be back soon for some more arena action. Stay tuned.